Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, Bitcoin and crypto is looking pretty darn good. So today's stream is all about why Bitcoin is heading higher. I have some more metrics to show you guys, and Bitcoin is pressing up and up against a pretty important resistance. And if it could break that, well, we could see some more highs in the future. So let's discuss. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, except Fridays now, Friday nights. As you guys know, I've decided to take that off, although I do have something in mind that may replace Friday nights in the future. So hang in there. But 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. for every other day. So make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest articles on CryptosRUs.com. Trust me, it's worth your time to go there every single day because there's a lot of new news reports, articles, how-to guides that is being updated daily. All right, guys, welcome. A beautiful Saturday morning, at least for me. And yeah, things are looking pretty darn good. 34.3. Okay, so obviously from our bottom, our recent bottom, we have been climbing quite a bit. Now, I mentioned about this important resistance. Well, this is the one a lot of people have been talking about, and that is, and we'll just go to the daily chart, and I brought up the 50 SMA on the daily, and you could see Bitcoin is pressed right against it. And why so many chartists and strategists or analysts like to look at it is because when Bitcoin is in a growth pattern or in a bull run or recovery, you can see it tends to stay above the 50 SMA. When there is weakness, it breaks below. But here's the thing. If you go back to last year, all the times it broke below was when a bottom formed, and then it just kept going. There's a few small periods here, but you could see the big one, obviously, that dropped Bitcoin all the way to 3,800. You could see that was pretty drastic and started coming up, right? But this is the one point that a lot of people are looking at. They turned very bearish when Bitcoin broke below, but now we're pressed right up against it, and it looks like we can, if we gain a little bit more volume, a little bit more buying, we'll break through this and head towards possibly 41, which is a level we haven't seen for quite some time. And obviously, if we could break through 41, well, then watch out. The 50s and 60s is right around the corner, right? So, baby steps, but it looks like Bitcoin is finally ready to break out. We've been stuck in this channel for quite some time, right? Couple months now, a little bit more than a couple months. And, it's about time. Although it could still go sideways for a little bit. But the reason I want to stream today is because I want to show you some interesting metrics that show otherwise, right? And of course, I do have Ethereum up. Ethereum is also doing very good, almost back to 2,200. And if you look at the entire market cap, it is blooming up above $1.4 trillion. And that's fantastic. All right. Now, something that could be helping today's push upward is short liquidations. You could see since the 21st, there was a big short squeeze right there. All right. And then the last few days, the shorts have been getting burned. Finally, we're seeing the inverse for the past few months. You can see the red here. Those were the longs getting liquidated. Now we're finally seeing the shorts feel some pressure. They had it too good for far too long, and now we're starting to see that. But regardless, I don't like to see anyone get wrecked and liquidated through leverage. But if I had to pick whether or not I want to see the shorts get liquidated or the longs, of course, I'm going to pick the shorts. And we're seeing that now because of our recent uptrend, right? Trust Analyze, you've been consistent. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. So this could be helping, and this bar could go up even more as Bitcoin keeps climbing. And we are, look at that. We're going up a little bit more, 34.4. We're breaking through, so that's pretty good. All right, so what else is there? Why is Bitcoin heading higher? Well, The obvious answer is there's more buying and selling, right? That's the obvious answer. So I brought up some metrics about wallet sizes. So this shows you wallets of over 1,000 Bitcoin. So these are true whales. And why did it drop so suddenly? Well, you could argue this is because China pushed out all the miners. The miners own some of the biggest wallets out there, right? And this is the reason why it started coming down drastically, because they were forced to liquidate and prepare to move out. There's a lot of reasons for it, okay? But you could see recently, around this time frame is when it bottomed out. That the miners or just big whales that decide to sell, it's starting to trend upwards again. They're starting to accumulate. So this is very positive. This is for ultra extreme whales. Now, I don't have the 100, but going down to anyone above 10, which is still, retail investors, but the wealthier retail investors, you can see that this number also dropped down until this point. And now you could obviously see it's curving back up. In fact, there was a huge spike recently, but you could see the bottom, like around right here, right? And now things are curving upwards. So that's also positive. What about people that just have above a Bitcoin? Obviously, retail investors, right? A lot, left. And now you could see, again, retail investors starting to buy in. So more and more accumulation behind the scenes. And here's another one that sums up everything from Glassnode. So this is 0.1 to 1, which is this line. This is the really the newbies, right? That's coming in. And you can see that line just never stopped. It just kept going and going and going. There was no drop at all. And then you could see the 1 to 10, which is this one, right? It came down and then suddenly it stopped and it started going up. So this is kind of like a summary of what I was showing you guys. Here's another one. The red one is 10 to 100, which you can see dropped significantly, but again, started turning up, right? So basically, people are starting to accumulate. While Bitcoin's price has been dropping and being held within this range, right, due to a lot of reasons, smart investors, and it doesn't even have to be institutions. It could just be whales. It could be retail investors. The smart investors have been buying and holding, okay? They've been buying and holding and buying and holding, and that's what they've been doing. And the more of that there is, the better it is for price, right? Which is why Bitcoin seems to have found the bottom. And this recent test, what didn't even go lower, it was actually above our previous low of 28.8 recently. And now it seems like we are heading higher. Now, other things that I've shown you guys previously, for example, the greed and fear index, which will update. I'm guessing it's going to update to something much better, something much higher than 20s. But I also did mention that, when you have a clump of fear like this, and we've been, stuck in here for quite some time, that's also a pretty good indication that things are going to turn up, because there's just too much fear in one localized spot. Using a contrarian trading viewpoint, then yeah, that's when you need to get more greedy. And all the smart investors, that's what they always say, buy when others are fearful, or buy when there's blood in the streets, because that's how you make the most money, right? So this also shows pretty good. Last thing I want to show you guys is something else I've found before, which is the SSR. This measures stablecoin supply versus Bitcoin supply. And why is this relevant? Well, when you have a lot of stablecoins just floating on the exchanges, what do you think is going to happen to them? The reason why they're parked there is because people are waiting to buy. And the higher the ratio is, the more likely that something will happen, right? That there will be a turn events and that will start shrinking again, because as people buy into Bitcoin again. And you could see that this orange line, anytime it hit really, below 0 is not good. But anytime it starts going really, really down to like -2, -3 ratio, you could see that this is when there's a sudden turnaround for Bitcoin. And right now, we're seeing that too. Even though the ratio has been going up, right? You see that Bitcoin's price still was going down, but that's going to change. This is why what we saw for the last few months This is why I said this was a media-driven FUD, because a lot of the indicators, a lot of metrics shows that people actually started buying. People started to buy because they don't believe that this is the end. Most people that's in the game right now believe, yeah, we will continue higher, right? So all these metrics show that Bitcoin started, or the accumulation or buying started maybe like a month ago, but yet we're trending down a little bit. So it seems like a lot of the fear, or maybe the whale games or suppression, was still being played, obviously through media, through Elon, through China FUD, whatever, right? But now it seems like it's finally starting to catch up, that all this buying is overshadowing the FUD that still exists, right? And things are turning around. So looking very, very positive. All these metrics look amazing at this point. I shouldn't say amazing, but they all do indicate that a bottom seems to have formed, at least a temporary bottom, and that things are ready to keep going. David said, Friday night was painful without George. Okay. Just not watching me for an hour, on Friday night. I think you could get past it. Okay, David. I know you miss me, but still, I'm going to be streaming plenty throughout the week. All right. So these are things that I want to show you guys. This is why Bitcoin, I believe, is heading higher. I've been showing you guys nonstop stuff. Just like on Friday morning, I showed you guys Bloomberg with Mike McGlone, and he was looking at the 20-day moving average. And whenever Bitcoin deviates too much from it, also shows that there's a bottom. I mean, there's just a lot of metrics. And, the point of these metrics is not that they have to be 100% right. Just like technical analysis, sometimes they're wrong. But what I love about these is most of the time, these are long-term metrics. They span out over years, not just like a few days or weeks. And when you span out for years, generally speaking, these are going to be a lot more accurate than day-to-day charts and so forth, right? Because they measure out, they take into account everything. The token economics of Bitcoin, the psychological factors at play, especially with halving events and bear cycles and bull cycles, right? And takes into a lot of things. So I love these kind of on-chain metrics. I like relying on them more than technical analysis. Although if you want to day trade, then of course you need to use TA. All right, so what else is there? The one big other news for today is this. Uniswap censors a ton of synthetic tokens, 129 to be exact. This is out of the blue, and obviously Uniswap is doing this because they're concerned. Jerry Gensler, the new SEC head, basically recently came out and said, hey, I don't care if you're a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange. If you're offering synthetic tokens or security tokens, you better watch out. You have to abide by security laws. So obviously Uniswap, backed by a lot of big crypto companies and VCs based in the US, they're complying. So they removed 129 tokens, and these are basically all synthetic tokens of something. Here on top, you can see a list. There's a couple of gold stuff, and then there's a whole bunch of synthetic tokens for options. Then you can see synthetics, which creates synthetic tokens. So every single synthetic token, including inverse ones and stock ones, all been removed. And there's ones based on indexes and currencies, right? You could see a whole bunch, and there's more here. There's some Zelda, Mario, Mini Mario, yield dollars, mirrored stuff. So Mirror Protocol also has some stuff. They all have been removed. So this is a big deal. This sets an example for basically all the other AMMs out there. If they want to operate in the US and they don't want to get in trouble, they're probably going to have to do this. So just keep that in mind. that even decentralized exchanges have to watch out for regulators. This is something that Michael Saylor's been talking about recently. Why he sticks with gold and not anything else? Because he thinks gold is, sticks with Bitcoin, not gold. He sticks with Bitcoin because he thinks it's property. And property is much easier to be regulated than everything else. Everything else is, it's a financial product, or it's a new kind of application, or a new kind of currency. These things have different rules, and they're going to be regulated accordingly, and that's why he's concerned about it. And this could be the very start of that. All right, and then lastly, Amazon is hiring a digital currency expert to develop cryptocurrency strategy and products. So this pretty much confirms 100% that Amazon is getting involved with crypto. Most likely, they're going to develop their own wallet. They're going to allow people to pay in crypto, right? And who knows, are they going to come out with their own exchange as well? Is Amazon going to come out with an Amazon coin? They already have Amazon credits, and there's, I think, Amazon bucks too, or maybe that's Facebook. I think they have something for their games too. Maybe they're going to come on the Amazon coin. So that would not surprise me. This is happening again, something else that we could look forward to besides Amazon, Apple with their Apple Pay, probably go get in. And of course, we still have Microsoft, who's already working on the Ion network on top of Bitcoin. And we haven't heard much from Google, but I think Google is just, they're not idiots. They're watching what all the other, their peers are doing, and they're going to probably jump in too. Google has Google Pay as well, and so forth, right? So, very, very bright future ahead, guys. Very bright future. This is why you don't want to give up. You want to stay in the game. You want to stay in the game for sure. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A overall. Hey, Bitcoin is still holding 34.4. Looking pretty promising. All right, scrolling down. Joe says, up or down, it doesn't change. DCA, HODL, and buy the dip. That is correct. That is correct. Manny says Ethereum Classic. I don't know if Ethereum Classic is doing well. I will mention, okay, I feel like I have to mention this, and I'm not trying to pump it, but Axis Infinity is on freaking fire, okay? Fire, and it has formed a new high and continues higher. I've been learning more about it. And it seems like the creators, which are very involved with gaming, they have created a very, very good system. And there are people that are FOMOing in. There's a lot of people that's making a ton of money just by, either owning land or selling off their, their love potions or their axes. There's a whole marketplace that they really do seem like they have their ducks in a row. Seems like that is really good. However, whenever something pumps up that much, you got to be careful. But I just want to mention about that because a lot of people have asked me in the past, what do you think about it? And you know what? Games can be very, very, very viral, and that is one that seems to be doing very well. T Home says, no more vacations. You called the bottom a few days back. Time to restart Friday stream. Come on, dude. I just took one Friday off. You're telling me to restart it again? Can we get an AMP update from you? Last I heard, an Amazon possibility. Whole Foods was using Flex Network. Amazon owns Whole Foods. Now Amazon's getting in the game. I don't know. I can't give you an update. These are rumors. But, Flex Network is growing. But in terms of adoption, I don't know how many people are actually using it, right? So the more people that use them, the more retailers that got on board, the better it is. But obviously, we don't have any hard concrete like figures. Like we have 1 million people on Flexa using AMP, right? So I love to see that. But overall, I think you just got to give it time. There's no need to rush updates. If Amazon is getting the game, maybe they do adopt Flexa, or maybe they come out with their own, right? But overall, I still think Flexa and AMP is a fantastic pairing, and there's no saying that AMP has to stay with Flexa. AMP could be used on any platform, really. Nate, I appreciate that. Coinbase finally added Solana. I didn't pick that up. Rich, thank you. That's pretty good. Did they ban synthetic network? As far as I know from this list, no. They just banned synthetic tokens. I don't see synthetic on here, but maybe I'm wrong. But on here, I did not see just synthetic listed. It's just the synthetic tokens that are, following stocks or currency or, derivatives. They were banned. Not banned, they were just removed, okay? It's not like they were really banned, but it's going to be harder to trade these now without being on Uniswap. Ed says, I love making money. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? All right, what else did I miss? How would you divide up 100% buy in ETH, ADA, DOT, Solana? LA, that's what this sample portfolio, right? 50, 25, 25. Which, hey, look at that. Look at that. Just a few days ago, I was negative 200 in profit, negative 100 in profit. Now, almost 300 in profit. That's not too bad for just 3 weeks of DCA, right? So this is how I divided 50% in Bitcoin, 25% in big caps right here, ETH, ADA, Matic, VET, and then 25% in smaller caps, right? It's off a little bit, but that's because, different crypto has grown differently. So over every Wednesday, I do $100 DCA into it. Give me some input on Band protocol. I know it's a fighting Chainlink, but both seem great. Band is fine. It's just it can't get any traction like all other layer 2s, not layer 2, oracles. There's a lot of oracles out there. I get asked about all these new, better versions of oracles, but no one is using them, right? That's the problem. Very little projects are using Band. If they use Band, it's like a secondary. First, it's always Chainlink. So that's the thing. 250K this year still in the books. It's hard to see. Bitcoin has to go up about 8x? Hey, I would say it's still in play. First things first, hit 6 figures, 100K. If it does, FOMO's gonna come in really, really, really hard. And I'm talking about, institutional FOMO, okay? All the hedge funds and VCs, they don't want to miss out. They don't want to miss out on the greatest returns for this year. So 100K, I definitely think is still in play. After we hit 60,000, we'll get back to 60,000, 100,000 is right around the corner. But after that, who knows how high things could go. If you were choosing a car to buy, which car that you recently reviewed would buy? I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a big SUV, a small sedan, a mid-size sedan, a sports car. If you're looking at a mid-size SUV, Kia and Hyundai offerings are fantastic. They really give you a lot. Like the new Sorento, the Telluride, Palisade. I mean, they're all fantastic. Santa Fe. Except if you're not so sure about the brands and you want to go with, say, a Toyota or something instead, that's okay. Highlander's fine choice, but it's kind of boring and bland. And Honda's stuff is kind of boring and bland too, but they have reliability, on their hands. But if you're looking at sedans, Honda Accord can't be beat. The new Civic, I'm not a fan of. So it depends. It depends on what you're asking for. Is the 50 MA point where we watch out for a bear trap? Not bear trap, but if Bitcoin can't break above and stay above, we can continue to go sideways or go down even more, right? This is what a lot of the TA guys is looking at, whether or not Bitcoin could really hold above this. and then build some momentum. And maybe Bitcoin still goes sideways, but at least it goes sideways between, say, 35 and 41 rather than 35 and 31, right? So let's see. Right now it's holding, but we'll see if it can continue to do so. Weekends usually is good and bad because lower volume could drive things lower, or it could drive things up really quickly. And right now it's upward, so it's good. All right. Alexander says, sorry, but you were saying Chainlink will be 800 by summer. I said that because I believe that at that time Bitcoin is going to go to 250,000. And if it does, Chainlink will still be at 800. All those predictions I made was not wrong. It was just based on Bitcoin, where it's going to be by the end of the year. And when I made those videos, it was when Bitcoin, I anticipated, was going to be at 250,000, which it still can. If Bitcoin goes up by 8x, trust me, every single altcoin, all the big caps will be like 20 to 30 times higher. I mean, that's not exaggeration. Altcoins, when, especially tail ends, before blow-off top happens, they go crazy. So it's not wrong until the year's over, right? It's not wrong. Any thoughts on synthetic? Based on what just happened to Uniswap, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Diablo and World of Warcraft tokens, yeah. If Blizzard came out, if Blizzard was like the new D2 remastered, like they could easily come out with a D2 token or something, or a Blizzard token. So it might be a good time. The Forester, as for a compact SUV, it's actually a really good one. It's the CVT isn't the greatest. The power is a little bit lacking, but overall it's a fantastic SUV. It drives well. It's very big, very spacious. For the compact SUV segment, it's hard to beat the Forester. I'm a big fan of Forester. All right. How are you feeling about Cardano's Sunday swap? I don't know. Sunday swap is not going to be done until Cardano's Gogan is done. So it could be the Premier AMA. Maybe something else takes over. Who knows? It's a little early. We got to wait. Gogan's testnet is progressing pretty good. So I think Charles said August is when Gogan will be fully done, and we don't have to wait much longer to see. Will you get into Rune as deep discount? Won't they patch the holes? Hopefully, but being hacked twice or 3 times within such a short amount of time, that gives me hesitation. So I personally am not adding into Thorchain. What do you think about Raul Paul saying social tokens being bigger than DeFi? I don't know. You could argue that social tokens is DeFi. Like anything that has to do with any kind of financial transaction is, you could say DeFi, right? And what's the social tokens? If you're buying a social token from a celebrity or from wherever, right? You could see it, you can think of it as a NFT, or it could just be a token, but it's still within that realm, right? So I would argue that social tokens is probably in DeFi. So it's not against it. Would you sell a 50K mutual fund for stable coins? Why? No. Without more context, why? The mutual fund could be doing good. Stable coins, unless you're asking to put into stable coins to earn some interest, then sure. I was thinking about that, 7.5 or 8.5 or whatever, depending on which project you use, that's a lot. You put 100,000 in, that's like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 per year of passive income. That's way better interest than having money into your savings account or checkings account. Mutual funds, some could be doing good, but I don't know. So I can't really answer that question well. What are some good buys right now that are still lagging? I mean, I've been covering this. A easy way to do it is look at what I did here, you know, live coin watch. Look at last 30 days, right? And then you could add in 90 days. And then you look at some of your favorite projects and see which ones have been sold off the most, right? Oh, 90 days is right here. See? And then you could look at it. If you're a big XRP fan, well, XRP's down almost 50% in the last 90 days. Well, then it could be a good time to buy, right? You guys know, like Polkadot, Polkadot is really struggling, a negative 54%. Polkadot seems to have lost a lot of traction right now, especially versus, say, Ethereum's only down 6%, and Cardano is still up 9%. Shows you how strong they have been versus Polkadot, right? But that doesn't mean that Polkadot can't turn around. It's the same thing with Chainlink, almost down 50%, which you can't go wrong with Chainlink in your portfolio. And Uniswap is down 45%, right? So a lot of these are bargains. Obviously, like Polygon, still up 150%. Not as good as a bargain as some of the other guys. But doesn't mean that you can't DCA into them, because they are still fantastic and I still love them. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Last question. BlockFi interest in ETH or BTC. Go to their webpage and check it out. All right, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Do I like Atom? Yes, I do. I think the Gravity Dex and Gravity Bridge, that's going to bring a whole lot more interest into Cosmos, because now you can basically interchange tokens from anything that's built within the Cosmos ecosystem, and they're going to bring ERC20 stuff. So I like Cosmos. I like Cosmos. All right, that is pretty much it. You know what? Bitcoin is still pressing right against this 50 SMA, right? Can it break above and liquidate some more shorts? It's looking like it definitely can. And if it does, we could see Bitcoin go into 35, 36, and press against 41 this coming week. But it's a little early to call. However, all the metrics I've been showing you guys shows a lot more accumulation that's happening behind the scenes, and shows that the bottom possibly has been formed. So stay in it, my friends, and I'll see you guys hopefully tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.